Genesis 21. All right. Sarah now laughs, but differently. She was laughing at God. Ha ha, you're not going to give me a son. I'm too old for that mess. And God said, is anything too hard for God? And then he called her out because that was her secret thought. He said, why are you laughing? She said, no, I'm not laughing. He said, yes, you were laughing. Well, now she's outwardly laughing. This is what she says. Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. She has Isaac. She has Isaac, and Ishmael begins to laugh also. But more in that he will be against every man kind of way that was prophesied about him. He begins to laugh, and Sarah doesn't like it very much. She tells Abraham that he and the bondwoman have to go. They're gone. Abraham's heart is troubled for his son. He doesn't want to leave his son. He's a man of honor. A man's son is his son. Why would he want him to go out into the wilderness? He has a special place for Ishmael in his heart. Of course he does. God says, yo, don't worry about what your wife is saying. Heed her words. Do what she says. Hagar and Ishmael need to go. Let them go. So notice here that he goes to God. He doesn't obey his wife right off the bat. He ends up obeying God, who told him to obey his wife. Abraham wakes up early in the morning. You know what he does? He sees Hagar and Ishmael off alone. He's a rich man. He doesn't have but everything. And he leaves them with bread and water. Because Sarah said, he will not share my son's inheritance. Isaac is the heir. And God agrees. God agrees with that. For it by Isaac's seed that your nation will be created. But Ishmael, I love that kid. So I promise you, Abraham, that he will be the father of nations. Keep in mind, he sees them off with only bread and water, but also a deep knowing, wise and faithful in the provisions that God will leave with them. He didn't just leave them high and dry with bread and water. He left them with God's blessing. Very big difference. This is not a man abandoning for selfish purposes his family. This is a man heeding God. So Hagar and Ishmael, they go wandering through the desert. It was reminding me of John the Baptist and Jesus. Ishmael came before Isaac. He was a man of wandering around in the desert. He ended up becoming an archer. But before all that happened, Hagar and him ran out of water. And Hagar puts him under a bush and goes off far away. And they said it was the distance that you could sling a bow, an arrow. She goes away and she says, I don't want to watch my son die. The bottle's spent up, all the water's gone. And she's crying out to God, and God's angel comes and says, Hagar, why are you troubled? You need not be troubled. Get up, grab your son. I will make a nation of him. She does. She gets up, being consoled by God, and they continue on their way. And she finds that they are dwelling in the wilderness of Paran. His mother Hagar took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. He becomes a great man. Verse 19, and God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She was out of water. She was hopeless, didn't have anything left, nothing but the sun beating down on her and her son. She didn't have anything left. So God opened her eyes, and there she found a well. And they're in the wilderness of Beersheba. Now, the meaning of Beersheba is well of the oath. But it takes until the end of chapter 21 when Abraham and Abimelech make a covenant together that Abraham will honor him, his son's sons, and his land. He will honor him. He won't go against him because Abimelech has honored him. And then there's another thing about a well here. It says, Abraham reproved after this swearing Abimelech because of a well of water which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. This is the chapter of the well. The first well we see is Hagar. Her eyes are open to the well. She has water. She will survive another day with her son. God opened her eyes to see the well. Was the well there in the first place? I don't know. In the second mention of a well, Abraham reproves Abimelech because his servants violently took away a well from Abraham's people. And then third, chapter 21, verse 31, wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both to them. Now, as we know, Beersheba means well of the oath. God made an oath to Hagar. gave her water, and Ishmael water. Abimelech and Abraham make an oath in the place called Beersheba, that they called it. So was it called Beersheba beforehand? Was it the same well that Hagar drank out of? I don't know. But it's the well of the oath. God's oath, Abraham's oath. He also planted a tree in Beersheba near the well. And I love this. And called thereon the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And everlasting God gives everlasting life through his son, who died and rose again on the third day. And so Abraham sojourned in the land of the Philistines many days. If you'll see back, I guess it was last chapter, Abimelech gave Abraham oxen and sheep and maidservants and men servants because he was apologizing for the whole situation with Sarah. And here Abraham pays back Abimelech with oxen and sheep. And he takes 7 sheep out of his flock. They're called ewe sheep. Ewe sheep are baby female sheep under 1 year old. He sacrifices these sheep at the well. It says, for these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Chapter 22 tomorrow.